Tozer said, the people of God ought to be the happiest people in all the wide world. And Tozer was a serious guy. I mean, it's not like he was, I'm tempted to use a modern example, but some superficial type of guy with a real big smile or something like that. People should be coming to us constantly and asking the source of our joy and delight. Now think about that, really. So do most Christians today, are people just like, wow, what's with you? How come you're so happy? Where do you get this delight and joy in your life? But that's one of the most evangelistic things that we can do, is to be the kind of people who have something that other people don't have. And I saw this in people at the church where I first came to faith in Christ. Some of the older people, some of the younger people, I'd never been around this before, but some of these people were very happy. Now, some of them weren't, but I was used to that, But it was the ones that had something. I went, whatever they got, that's what I want. Amy Carmichael, who, if you know anything about her as the missionary in India, never had a furlough in like 50 years of ministry, working with girls that were exploited in temple prostitution. This was not all the ingredients for a happy, delightful life, but she said, there is nothing dreary or doubtful about this life. It is meant to be continually joyful. We are called to a settled happiness in the Lord, whose joy is our strength. Augustine said, so now we're going back in early church history, 3rd, 4th century, for who wishes anything for any other reason that he may become happy? There is no man who does not desire this, and each one desires it with such earnestness that he prefers it to all other things. Whoever in fact desires other things, desires them for this end alone. We are motivated start to finish by happiness, whether we realize it or not. Listen to this from Blaise Pascal, and he was a believer and mathematician and scientist. All men seek happiness. This is without exception. Whatever different means they employ, they all tend to this end. The cause of some going to war, now this is very important, because at first you may be going, really? Come on. Everybody? No. The cause of some going to war and of others avoiding it is the same desire in both, attended with different views. The person who wants to go to war is somebody who thinks that they're going to find their meaning, their significance, they want to be brave and courageous, they want to defend their loved ones, and it will actually make them happy to go to war. Now, it's not going to make them safe to go to war, it's not going to make them deliriously giddy every day while I'm at war, but it's what they want to do, because they would be miserable not going out to war, not enlisting. You get the idea there? Okay. And then others, they'd be miserable if they did go to war. And that's easier for probably most people to understand in some ways. But I think we all understand the desire to defend your country and do these different things that others, have. Listen to this now. The will never takes the least step but to this object, the object of happiness. This is the motive of every action of every person, even of those who hang themselves. Now let that sink in. Really? Well, why do people take their lives? Now, there's some differences, but there's some commonalities. Hopeless, they are miserable, they are so unhappy. Do happy people take their lives? No. Okay, so they've been seeking happiness and not finding it. So at very least, by taking their lives, they desire to rid themselves of unhappiness. They might even believe that there will be a happier afterlife awaiting them. So you could say it could even be to seek happiness, but at very least, it's to get rid of unhappiness. Now, I'm not talking about whether they're correct. Obviously, it's wrong to take their lives, and I'm not even talking about whether they're correct about what awaits them. I'm just talking about, Pascal is just talking about why they do what they do.
And most people that hang themselves are emotional motivated.
Mm-hmm. Sure. Thomas Manton, a Puritan, said, "It is as natural for the reasonable creature to desire to be happy as it is for the fire to burn. But we do not make a right choice of the means that bring us to that happiness we desire." That's where he's getting. The problem is not desiring happiness. The problem is making bad choices about where to find the happiness. That's sin. But happiness and seeking happiness is not the problem. Human beings choose means quite contrary to happiness, but happiness is what they're seeking. Richard Sibbes, the Puritan, said, "Happiness being by all men desirable, the desire of it is naturally engrafted in every person." Where is it naturally engrafted from? Satan? No. It's not the result of the sin nature. It's the human nature, and it's the center of all the searchings of his heart and turnings of his life. Robert Crofts, I came across this book that I got from somebody who publishes old manuscripts. It was actually in the original manuscript form. It was only written, 28 years after the King James Version was translated. "The terrestrial paradise or happiness on earth. All men naturally desire happiness. All their plots, purposes, and endeavors aim at this end only." You've seen the consistency of these spiritual people who are saying we all seek happiness.